How do you get faster and more confident at running downhill? I'm Claire from Wild Ginger Films trail running YouTube channel, and recently I was in Scotland for the Ring of Steall Skyrace, gathering the best downhill training and technique tips from the pro trail runners, including a men's course record breaker Kilian Jornet, second and third ladies the Brits Victoria Wilkinson and Holly Page, plus experienced British trail runners like Tom Owens, Tindley, Symonds and Sally Fawcett, and some international athletes that got a little bit of a shock out there in the rain and the mud, like Remy Bonnet and Sage Canaday. This is your ultimate downhill running masterclass. Enjoy putting these tips into practice on your next run, share how you got on in the comments below, and finally subscribe and follow me on social media so you don't miss out on my weekly gear tests, Q&As and expert tips from pros like these. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the trails. This film is powered by Ellis Brigham. Their new trail running range is in stores and online now.
Yeah, that's really tough because in Switzerland, you know, it's not like muddy like this. There is sometimes some mud, but it's not slippery like here. But it was really, really fun.
It seems like you've got some war paint.
Yeah.
Yeah. How did that happen?
Yeah, I prefer the uphill, so I'm not so good in the downhill. But yeah, I try to follow the best like Kilian, but it's hard, and so I fall. I think you have to train the downhill, like the uphill or the flat you have to do it in training and you will get better.
Yeah, I think you can improve. There's some natural talent, but so a lot of it's mental, how much risk you want to take, and training the quads to withstand the pounding too. I fell a lot. It was really challenging. I didn't know what to expect. It was my first time here. I knew it would be technical. It was really technical. Most technical race I've done, class 3 scrambling, wet ridges. My Hoka One Torrents held up pretty well. I was happy with how they worked. I'm just clumsy on the downhill, so I fell twice in the last 2K.
In Britain we kind of do fell running, whereas you're not necessarily on a footpath, so you just go down whatever's in front of you, whether it's grass or rock or mud or whatever, whereas now I live in France and nearly all the racing is what you call trail racing, so it's on footpaths, mainly because there's forests everywhere, so you can't just cut through fields. So it's on trails, so it's different because you're generally on a fairly hard surface, especially where I live in the south. It's kind of hard and dry, so it's it's not like running on the road, but it's usually harder and more stable. Whereas in the UK you get a bit more surprises because sometimes you put your foot down and it keeps going down, whereas you thought it might stop. So depending on whether there's a hole underneath it or whether it's grass and Sussex and stuff. So
it's mostly about confidence, going out and practicing it, and also sometimes a bit like skiing, falling. You need to learn how to fall and learn that actually when you do fall, usually you just like get back up and carry on and you're absolutely fine. You can see people tensing up. When I was doing this trail running workshop, I would say to people, just relax, like relax your shoulders, relax everything, and just run normally. Like probably better to have like little steps and just think about being light on your feet as well. So you shouldn't tense up.
My number one tip is just fast feet. Move your feet as fast as you can, let yourself flow, and then just stay 1-2 meters ahead of yourself and just find that flow, and really just keep mentally strong, because it's really the mental. If you start to get tired mentally, then you're going to start tripping and stumbling. So fast feet, stay strong mentally. Those are the tips.
How did you get your bleeding?
No, it was just like here in the last part of the downhill. It was a muddy patch, and they just roll a bit on there. Yeah. To do a lot of downhills, like to go to different kinds of terrains and rocky and muddy and steep, and to spend hours and hours and hours. And that's the only way, I think. Like you can practice to train your muscles, but it will not really help you for technical downhills. It's just like to spend a lot of hours in the hills.
There's a lot of mud, so there's parts where you sink into the mud and you really have to scan the ground and watch your footing. I found that sometimes it's better to go off in the grass than to try to go in a mud puddle, because you might sink in, and then to be really confident with the rocks you're stepping on. Some are really jagged. You try to find a flat rock and plant on that, but you can't plant too hard because you'll slip, because they're coated in moss and it's wet. So really tricky. Take quick steps. My motto is always try not to fall and get stitches and hurt myself. No big injuries, but you got to go fast. So It's a learned skill I think you can improve, and that's my weakness, so I got to work on it.
Find the surface that you're most comfortable with. So some people like scree, some people like grass, and then practice on that. And then once you've got confident on that, you can move to other surfaces that you're less confident on and slowly build up from there. Well, so scree and mud, you know, you can just slide with it, and you don't have to think too much about where you put your feet because there's nothing to break an ankle on or anything. And then the rockier it gets, especially the descents in this race, like you have to be really careful where you put your feet and work on your balance a lot more.
So it can be grassy with rocks in between, it can be like very rocky, slippery, muddy. So it's all the kind of terrains you need to have really good ankles, like to be able to put the feet and don't twist the ankle. And then like you really need to look where you go, so the visualization is also very important. To practice the visualization, like you can remember the 10 next meters and then close your eyes and you remember like where are the rocks and things.
Downhill running, you've got to change your body position the whole time. It's kind of a bit of a balancing act. Sometimes I imagine myself on a mountain bike as well a little bit. It's about not being stressed, enjoying yourself, and just legging it basically. Leaning forwards a bit if you can, but if it's too steep then not too much, otherwise you will go too fast. And if it's smooth enough and you really want to throw yourself, you can do a bit of windmilling. That kind of throws the momentum forwards, so that's a good little tactique. But if it's really rocky and rough, then you might not want to be doing that because you might hurt yourself.
Because sometimes it's good to do a race with downhills because you're going to have more confidence because you've got the adrenaline of being in a race, having people around you. In training, I don't go very hard on the downhills because I'm not prepared to take that risk of like twisting something or breaking my something.
I was brought up in Cumbria in the northwest, so quite a lot of fell running. And I think it's a big advantage because it's kind of like basically spend your life training to run downhill. And then if you move into Europe and do more trail racing or more sort of sky racing abroad, you find that on the continent they're maybe not so used to throwing themselves down, techie stuff, so it's a bit of an advantage. It's kind of a bit like training for downhill fell running really, yeah.
Well, there is the old tip of just disengage the brain, but short fell races I find are the best thing to do just because adrenaline takes over, and so you stop thinking about what you're doing, and the more that you just naturally do it rather than thinking about the footfall, the quicker you progress on with the downhill. So short fell races, but then I was once told 3 years worth of fell races and you'll get the knack of it. So I find it really difficult on the downhills because I'm just thinking about it too much, but the less you can think about it and the more that you just naturally fall down almost, then the better. So yeah, 3 years worth of fell running, but get those shorter, more uncomfortable short fell racing, get that fast blast, and that seems to work.
Awesome. And by short, how long is that?
3 or 4 miles. So you're out for that half an hour, 40 minutes, that sort of time frame. So it's enough to really go hell for leather.
When I'm running downhill, I try to be just awakens a little child in me and just a little float and find the flow and just accept the downhill and play with it. It's going too fast to think about it. So the moment you try to do things right, then it's over. I think you really got to go with your instinct, your animal instinct. Yeah, maybe that's this. Awaken your animal instinct, and then it's fun, and yeah, it's a good way to feel like a little child.
Look where you're running. So look in front of yourself. Don't look down at your feet. Not too far off, but you just need to be looking ahead with your head upright, so your head's not down like so. So a few meters ahead, check out where you're actually going to be placing your feet. Just make sure you got the right sort of footwear on, plenty of grip. So if you're going downhill and it's muddy, deep lugs on your shoes, otherwise you'll be slipping, falling over every 2 seconds.
Have confidence in your footwear. Wearing a race, obviously.
I'll have to beat that out.
Gotta wear studs, definitely. But also, like, don't just follow everybody else because there's usually an alternative, even if it's only five meters off the line, off your racing line. It might be a little bit better. So yeah, just keep looking ahead and plan ahead. Could be cutting a corner. I mean, I don't always do it, but yeah, if you've got like a zigzag path, you might cut the corner a little bit. But yeah, just look for different lines really.
Well, going pretty slowly and taking it easy. I had a really bad twist, and so I've taped up the ankle a lot, and yeah, just have to, a bit more careful than normal where to put the feet and take the time. So it's a bit frustrating, but hey, it's better to do something than nothing. When it relaxes a bit, I'll try and do some balance work, and well, at home I could just do some stuff on standing on one leg, just doing everyday things, brushing the teeth and shut the eyes, and there's waiting for the kettle to boil and things like that. I guess running in these hills is the best ankle training you can do.
The more you do, the stronger your legs become. Have faith, your legs will hold out. Even when they're tired, they're never really going to they're not just going to give way, even if they feel like they are. And as you do more and more, then you just build up that natural strength in your legs as well.
Single leg squats, lunges. I actually need to work on stabilizing my back, using my glutes more. So yeah, sit-ups, working the core, but then also yeah, squats, side lunges from the side to side. Balancing on a stability ball, working on one leg at a time, the side to side, so you have strong ankles.
So I heard a really good tip from Greg Volley once, which is like, imagine your leg is like the suspension on a mountain bike, and your knee needs to bend, so you need to focus on like keeping your knees bent and not straight legs, and I found that helps a lot.
I guess I imagine I'm enjoying myself like on a mountain bike when I'm running downhill, so I treat it as a kind of, as if I'm a downhill mountain bike and just enjoying the flow. And it makes me think a bit more about your stability and your centre of gravity, your position kind of a bit more, because in mountain biking you think about that, whereas running you don't really, naturally maybe. So it makes you maybe think, oh, I need to lean to the left and lean forwards and stuff like that, yeah.
I think on this course it probably helps to be a good skier, because there's a lot of back and forth where you're kind of shifting your weight from side to side. So maybe I need to ski, I don't know, I don't ski, I'm pretty bad, so I think that probably helps. And
probably the best tip is never give up, because you can actually get a lot of ground on people going down. I've been sometimes 5, like Kima, 3 weeks ago, Kima Skyrace. I was in 8th at the top, 5 minutes, more than 5 minutes behind the guy in front. And loads of people would just go, oh, give up. But I didn't. I thought, there's still a chance I can get him. And I got him with a K to go. So even if it seems like a long way, you can sometimes gain a lot of time downhill. It's not just about the uphill. You can gain as much time in downhills as you can in uphills if you're still feeling fresh enough at the top and you give it some.
I think I was like 15th or something on the top of the hill, of the first hill, and then at the bottom of the first hill I was 4th. So it just shows, and like I caught up so much time on the girls who were miles ahead of me going up the hill, just by like being able to run downhill. It's quite demoralising for the people who've worked really hard up the hill to be overtaken just by someone with no brain running down the hill. But it's quite nice being that person running down the hill.
Always look up, keep looking up and see the next guy in front and try and catch the next back, and just, you know, use them to really take the better lines. You know, when you see that they slightly, you know, went a little bit further than they had to, you can cut down and get on their back. And when you pass someone, make sure you do it properly. You know, go past them at full speed and make sure they're demoralised so they don't come back at you.
I just need some tips on the downhill running.
Oh, I don't know if I'm qualified for that.
You can sometimes get that in, Tom's behind, you sometimes get that. And then I've got a good coach for downhill running called Tom Owens over there. He's pretty good. Tom, say hello. You're on live YouTube. Oh, damn, okay.
Oh, it's not live, don't worry.
Okay. I'm joking. Don't cut that, that's the best bit.